It works fine. Thank you. It's called Following Your Dreams here, and I was listening to My Philippines Retirement. Mike's Philippine Retirement. That's right, Mike's Philippine Retirement. His last show, and he got it down pretty good. And he said, as the prices in America and everywhere are going so sky high that salaries were not making it for people as rents went up and house prices went up, and people had made their own personal decisions to. And this could correlate to my uploads that I just did today. Sorry, I did not feel like doing any live streams today, but this is obviously a live stream, so I'll catch some stragglers at this time of the afternoon here anyway. And he basically goes on to say, and take a look at it. What he has to say actually, everything basically he's had to say. I mean, I kind of agree on it. Things change in your life. You go through different avenues of great stuff happening, bad stuff happening. Sometimes you have hard times. I had a couple of bankruptcies, things like that. Left a marriage eons of time ago. Good Lord. I haven't been married for, well, certainly not in this country. Let's put it that way. But my United States marriage was, shit, I don't even remember when it was. It's been that long. Hello, Brisket. Welcoming me back on a live. Yeah, so if you manage to see my last two videos, you can get pretty much an idea. Like I said, there's no obligatory reason to have to explain myself to my audience or anybody. Um, I'm not under any contractual agreement to talk about some stuff, but I think when you hear things from the source rather than from trolls, you'll understand the situation a whole lot better. It's all bullshit. Bullshit talk all the time, 24/7. All right, let's get off that. Mike's Philippine Retirement, I was kind of referring to his show, and he went on about how people, especially in the United States, you work a job or whatever, and you make enough to get some kind of retirement, whether shit happened to you and you started off on a disability, ended up on a regular full retirement. How much you're making per month has never been enough for anybody, really. Certainly not really to survive without having a little jingle in a bank account, and you kind of sort of have to have that. And it's even here to bring yourself over here to the Philippines and survive in the Philippines. You have to have something tucked away. And it's the only way of feeling secure out here when you're in a different country. But he was right about everything about the United States and elsewhere. It's becoming so difficult for so many people. That's why so many people are moving out of the United States, as well as, well, all the dreamers, nothing but a dreamer, moving into the United States and expect to live the life of Excelsior, but that's just not a reality. I'm not saying you can't. You got good ideas for business or whatever, and some people that have retired out here, particularly in the Philippines, they came with a pretty good portfolio. They were perhaps professionals in some job that they made pretty good money. They invested, had stocks, and so forth. And that, unfortunately, is not the average portfolio, I think, of the average YouTuber out here, or on a broader scale, expats that move into the Philippines. I don't think that's the case for the most part. Some will pretend they're doing very well when they're actually struggling, but they don't want to let you know that. Well, we won't dive into that. Let's spare all you all. Something didn't turn out. You had divorces. You had your job, lost your job because the company went tits up or whatever. And everybody has a lot of stories as to why they left the Philippines. As I said all the time, there's some people are running towards something and some people are running away. And I can think of a number of people that have actually ran away from America to come here. But again, we're not going to dive into that either. Events, different things that have happened in your life and replaced it with good. I've had some of these events, is everything from divorce, everything from, oh, geez, some bankruptcies, whatever. Sometimes you fail at something financially and you have to put your boots on the ground and stand strongly on your feet and recover, which I did to the point I even bought a house in Seattle and etc. But um, then, you want to move on. Now you reach a point where your credit score was horrible because you did bankruptcies, but then you just recover from it and you work and you get your score back up, puts you in a good position to buy a home. And actually, it didn't take very long for me to buy my first home. I was surprised, but my credit score was not high at the time I bought the house. I think it was something like, I don't know, 650 or something around there. You want to have a preferential, well, you want to get 800, but, I didn't have that kind of credit. But I still managed to get in and buy a house, and that was great. That was the start off, actually, of good from there, from having that house, and then moving on eventually without having to put all the detail because basically I've gone over it in a couple of videos. And of course, I wound up in Hawaii, that, and here I am in the Philippines, okay, and everything went pretty well, and actually still is. And some people will say that, oh, you got to make on your Social Security, you got to make at least 3,000, 3,500 or more per month. That's like the upper end of the scale. And usually people that make that much have put a lot more time and work than I did and had maybe more of a professional job or something. But I think there's a cap on Social Security. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure how much is a cap on that. If anybody wants to share that, they can. I don't know. Some people were fortunate to, or according to how you want to look at it, to be in the military. Maybe they weren't there long enough to seek a pension. Maybe they got a military pension of some sort. Maybe they got disabled somehow being in the military, so they collect money from there. They were in the private sector, and they got money from the private sector from a job. So that was good, and they set themselves up good. Then when they became 62, now they got 3 different incomes. Generally, somebody in that position does very, very well and will do fantastic in the Philippines and up. And that is not the average Joe out there that's making, 3 different paychecks per month. And then some of them, maybe they're making 3 different paychecks. They got a popular YouTube channel and making a little money from that too. It all mixes together and it works real well. Although you got the opposite of people that are really hurting and they really depend on their YouTube channels to make some extra income to survive. And as Mike's Philippines retirement, I believe, yeah, he was saying that, back in America, you want to go buy like a family pack of steaks, you're going to pay $100 or a lot more than that. You can get these steaks here in the Philippines. And they're not cheap, but it's not going to cost you what you're going to be paying in America for the same steaks. Although, is it the same steaks, the quality? Well, that's up for you to decide where it came from, and so forth. For all you know, you're eating buffalo or water, whatever. You don't know, but, well, they just say if it tastes good, eat it. But, well, that's kind of a broad statement to make. You can't eat everything. You can, but, why? It's not healthy. But here in the Philippines, we all have that urge for our Western foods, and that's kind of what kind of screws a lot of people up. Because if you want to live, is that number again, 13? If you want to live the Western lifestyle, you're going to pay for it. But if you want it bad enough, just say screw it and you buy it. And I've done that so many times that sometimes I've refused to pay a certain amount of money for an item because I thought it was absolutely absurd. Talk about a profit point. No, that was absolutely absurd. So what he was talking about on there, I agree with about everything he said on there. Actually, there's a lot of considerations you make in moving away from family and all that, and you're going to get your hecklers out there saying, "What the fuck are you going to do moving to a third world country? You out of your freaking mind? Doesn't the Philippines have all these earthquakes and tsunamis and these hurricanes and so forth? Yeah, it does, but you know, all the world's a stage, okay, and there are disasters in every country, maybe a little bit more out here, but I suppose you already knew that before you moved out here to the Philippines, or you're contemplating moving out here to the Philippines. So basically, you're going to make the best of what you got, and hopefully, you took a little cash extra to put in the bank. It doesn't have to be a phenomenal amount. If you have an emergency medical, or if you want to just hightail out of there again, that you have some money to do that. That's a consideration that you have to have. You may change your mind, the circumstances may change, and you may need that money. So, you know, be wise, sock a little bit of money away, you know, make believe, I don't know, your pension check, whatever. Make believe you're making $100 or $200 less or something, and just sock it away and make believe that's all you're making on your check. I mean, you could do that every month, and that shit adds up as it's converted to pesos, and you'd be surprised how far that goes. So a lot of people don't do that, and they wind up in situations where when something does come up, and this has happened to me, but luckily I had the money for it, but a health situation, unexpected type of health situation. Um, do you have the money to hit the hospital? And, I don't want to really go into and drag this out. That's been talked about over and over again. Hospitals out here, they're not going to take you in unless you have the money, and they want to see the green or whatever color your money is out here, according with denomination. They want to say the green of your money out here before they're going to work on you or do anything. So yes, literally, you could actually be in pain, suffering, and they won't take you in the hospital unless you sign some kind of paperwork where they're going to know how they're going to get their money. And some hospitals, I think, probably would do a payment plan with you, but you have to come up with a half decent down payment and sign some paperwork, promissory note, whatever. But as in America, you could walk into any emergency room and they're going to check you out and they're going to treat you and they'll bill you. And if you happen to have Medicare, then, well, that's going to take care of, 80%. Any supplemental insurance plans that could cover the rest of the 20%, and you're lucky to have an external plan that kind of fills in the gap between the 80% and the 100. So these are things you have to really keep in mind. A lot of people will say, well, these guys, these older guys are all moving to the Philippines and stuff. Do they realize that they're of an older age and, how many years they're going to have out here? Well, you'd be surprised. It was just yesterday, and I've seen this so many times. I've seen a dude in his 80s, man, with his young girlfriend and a baby stroller. That usually gets a reaction from me. That does. I will admit that will get a reaction from me. I said, come on, it ain't fair for the kid. And I've always felt that way. It's not fair for the kid. He's not going to grow up to know his dad. Sure, it may benefit the kid if the guy has a little bit of money and he leaves the wife or girlfriend, whatever the case might be, something that, it's going to help them out and help her be able to raise the kid. House or whatever it might be that she could do what the hell she wants with. Same as my situation. It took 6 years for me to decide whether I wanted to get a house out here. But it was a good move in many different ways because, I don't have to pay any rent. And that's one thing that we're lucky in that situation, when the child stops wearing nappies, the father will start wearing them. Yes, you're exactly right. That's why I say all the time, and I will never stop saying it, is that I the wide, don't believe me, and it's talked about 1,000 times. We're not going to get into the age gap. I have to mention it though, because it's part of the story I'm telling here. The age gap thing does make a big difference. It really does. You really shouldn't get into relationships like that. And please don't tell me. Maybe in rare cases there's real love, but I'm sorry, but I will find it very hard to buy when a very young Filipino could find a Filipino her age and live long life together and to have children together that will get to know their father and mother and not worry about the guy being 75, 85, 80, whatever years old, even 90 years old. You see a few of those around too, I guess. I think there's a cap off into the 80s and half of them are dead, but, hopefully they die peacefully. But, uh, you know, please, don't even humor me with this and tell me that it was a love situation, a real love shack. No, I will not buy that story. It was a financial agreement. He wanted his youth back. The only way to do that was to get somebody that he knew he could never in a million years get from the country he came from, and as such, primarily say United States or even the UK. You just can't, and you know that. You know that, and I know that. Okay, yeah. Real love of the wallet, yeah. Well, that's why I waited 6 years, okay? And people are very, generous when they push around the word simp on people. And there are simps, and we've heard the stories. Man, we heard the stories that almost made you shed a tear of what these guys did for women that just weren't very honest with them. They should have waited, got to know them. And, you know, I'm so secure in my situation. She knows all my passcodes, everything. I'm not worried about it. And actually, we share a bank account together. So, and she has her own bank account too. But nevertheless, we're not rich. We're not rich at all by any country standards. We're not rich. But you know something? We make it happen. And despite, legal shit going on, we're okay. That hasn't hindered my budget. It hasn't, it's business as usual every single day when I get up. And, oh, speaking of getting up and, business. Yeah, we're back into action again on that. Um, it started from this morning. I said, no, I've been laying on my butt a little bit too long. I'm back in action again. I started off with that walk. It had to do with those shows I did this morning. I went home later on. I started to do some special exercises that I started to do but didn't continue. Something as simple as holding onto a chair, up and down, get it on, actually just two. Sit on the chair and just get up and sit down again. And that's going to work on your glutes, it's going to work on your legs. And as you get older, you want to use, though, don't worry, we're not turning this into a medical advice show. I don't have the qualifications for medical advice, but I have some kind of sense about it. I would think so. And yeah, I started to do calisthenics again. I started working out with the weights, the hand weights, and so forth, because it's so critical. Because the best cardio you want to get is not just on the treadmill, although you should need to do about 30 minutes of walking, whether it's on a treadmill or out to the beach or something every day. Yes, I would agree on that. But you see, that's not enough. I'll stop here in a minute, so don't pull your hair out on this. But you have to do a little bit of weight training, and I don't mean you have to buy a bench set and all that. I wish I had actually a bench set. I don't know how much room I'd have for that, but I still, at my age, would not be starting off with a lot of weights. It would be very little, like 50 pounds or something, so your body starts getting acclimated, then you work up, but then you still don't want to go too terribly high, because unless you're really physically trained, and that's just the thing, well, that's the advisement I would give anybody, but it does make a difference, You don't have to be deadlifting fucking 1,100 kilos, as you might see on these feeds and all that. These are well-trained people, and they're younger. And not just younger, by the way. There's some older dudes, really older dudes, that you'd be shocked to see because they've been doing it all their life. But to be honest with you about that, a lot of these people have had joint problems, back problems, and even heart attacks. Then they started getting into steroids, and well, that would lead to heart attacks. Many have died from overuse or any uses of steroids. And anyway, we don't, okay, we're not going to settle into that. I'm just going to tell you that I feel really empowered when I start working out again. I always do. It's good for the head, it's good for the body. And as I said, I have a good idea that I might be living possibly a lot longer than I anticipate because of genetics and things like that, and some of the things I do for myself. The one thing that would guarantee that is, well, you think you know what that is, right? Yeah, I think you know what that is. But nevertheless, putting that on the sidebar, I think otherwise, I think I've been doing pretty damn good. Physiologically, I'm actually in pretty good shape. And as I joked around and said, no, I don't walk with a cane like Jay or anybody else, Don or anybody. No, and I don't need to lean on my girlfriend to walk with her and stand with her. That's totally ridiculous, absurd. And maybe someday I will. I don't know, but not now. I'm not anywhere near that point of having to have her hold me up when we walk. I wouldn't even go out for walks with her if that's what she had to do. No, that would be embarrassing to me. I'm not in that shape, that bad shape like that. Actually, I could walk for incredible distances if I just put myself to do it. I just can't do uphill shit. Kind of difficult for me, but doesn't mean I can't. But you just gotta train yourself to do it. You can't just run into something. That's how you will get a heart attack, and you don't have to be my age. You have a heart attack at a lot younger than my age if you're pushing things too far. Just don't push yourself that far. It's the best thing I could tell you. Anyway, moving on. I was kind of quoting some things from another guy's show. Sometimes I do get inspired with a few people talk about if it's worth listening to and if it makes sense. I think what this guy was saying on his show is I think most of us went through what he did. He didn't. Well, I came here with a little bit of money, but a lot of people don't come here with a ton of money in the Philippines. And basically, they're shirt on their back, practically, some of them, and they live off their Social Security, and a lot of them don't have backup pensions or military pensions or military disability and all that, which dramatically helps their income. It makes a big difference, but not all of us are fortunate enough to have that. Not all of us. I've actually lived most of the time out here just on my Social Security disability. And some people make fun of that and say, yeah, how are you going to live on that kind of money? Well, I did 75% of the time. I've lived on just that money 75% of the time. And we were able to do everything we normally would be able to do. And we had no problems with that. Okay, if you're going to have crazy spending, if you're going to go out to eat 4 times a week, that'll pull down your budget. That sure will. But we still go out and eat, and more than I actually tell you, but we budget on that. We budget. And don't forget, she's got her own money too. So it's like I'm not always dishing out the cash to her all the time. We go shopping sometimes, and she'll say, hey, I got it. You know, she pulls out her card and she pays for it. And other times I'll pay for it. And it's kind of a back and forth thing. So survival. Speaking of an angel, looks like an angel, walks like an angel. That's my sweetie. That's my sweetie. You gonna go over there? Hold on, let me put on mute for a second, folks. So, a segundo, segundo. Some things are personal. Okay. It's amazing how she meets people that come from towns she's lived in, like Leyte, and one of her kids' classmates, her mom is from, a relative is from Leyte, which is one of the places that she did grow up in. Small world with the like 1,700 islands out here. It's amazing, you know, how small it can be in a sense, especially when you got a lot of relatives and stuff, and then you find out that, oh, no shit, living in a town here. Okay, what part of Leyte? You know, that kind of information. There's going to be a lot of chismis going on with that. Okay, getting back to where we were. I mean, I'm having some ribeye steaks tonight, in fact. If you budget, you do really well. You do really well out here. And no matter what people are saying, you need this much to live on. But you see, fortunately, um, if you have any other kind of income, that's going to help too. And when someone says, well, you get X amount of money for your Social Security, well, is that all you get? Do you have any other resources? Well, I'm not going to say whether we do or not. We actually do. But, and it very much complements what I make per month. Um, as I said, she's not exactly in the poorhouse. Um, she got more money than I will ever, ever have. You know, ever. Spot on. Laughing, Larry. 13. Right? Didn't I tell you about the 13 on here? It always measures out to 13 really, really interested viewers. Right? I was spot on, wasn't I? Yeah. I wasn't really going to do any live streams, and I've been resorting myself to say, well, let me just do some uploads and don't allow comments. I think that's going to be the common thing I'm doing. But as I said, it's been a long run. I've been told by attorneys, I've been told by my girlfriend, Frank, I know you enjoy doing shows and all that, and I think a lot of us, and boy, have I heard a lot of stuff on there from bloggers, that a lot of them feel that they need to vlog, but some of them need to vlog because they want to make money. And that seems to be like 80% of them. I would gather that probably more than that. It's really they're in it for the money. As you said, you know, as I said, I'm not monetized. I just do it to do a show. I'm not in it for the money. And even if I was monetized, I didn't make shit on here anyway, so it didn't really matter. It really didn't. I'm on it because I have something to say and share. That's all. And that's it. You know, nothing more or less than that. So, yeah, we eat good around here. Gee, what did I have for lunch today? I'm going to try to skip a meal because that's more healthier to skip a meal. But one thing I am out of, and oh my God, that is a crisis, is blueberries. Although I got blueberry extract, you know, supplement that I take. But fresh bag of strawberries, I was able to get that locally, frozen. Wow, imagine that. Really, up in Van Tyen. But I have a special diet. I mean, you know, but it doesn't, you know, like I said, it doesn't mean my diet is perfect. I mean, they bought some ice cream. She comes into the room with this big cup of this, what the hell was it? It was chocolate and vanilla, and she even threw some M&Ms in there. And I said, damn, that was good. That was good and in good. And I ate it. You know, damn well I ate it. It's not totally bad for you. It's according how much you have of that stuff. You could eat ice cream. There's protein in it. There's calcium. You could eat ice cream. You can eat ice cream. Don't scream about that. You scream ice cream. We all scream for ice cream. Ice cream is okay. Just do things in moderation, okay? My gosh. You know, they don't think you're a stud if you're 70 above or 60 above or even 50. We're going to have sex with your woman 5 times a day. I don't think so. I don't think so. I just really don't think so. Okay? Just don't overdo anything, man. I don't know what your quest is in life. You want to prove your manly prowess or something, but just whatever you do is your gig. But just do it wisely, you know? Yeah. And yes, things are crazy in America now with Trump in office, and we're not going to get real political. Just deal with me. He's going to bring the country to war. He's going to bring the country to war. I didn't vote for him, and I couldn't vote anyway. I guess someone in jail cell has special privileges. They can vote online. I wasn't able to do that, you know. And I'd say the truth, I wouldn't have voted for either candidates. It doesn't matter. And historically, I didn't never voted much anyway because I did not believe in politics. I think they were all crooked. And the only president that I've ever thought was a great president was, well, two of them actually, was Kennedy. And I thought Clinton was a good president. Some, will disagree with me, but I think Clinton and Kennedy were two good presidents, especially Kennedy. Now, the current president in office, he's back in again and making a lot of promises, but he wants to be the tough boy on the block. He wants to put his weight around, and some countries are not digging that at all. And the guy almost got annihilated twice before he got elected, and he might have something to worry about out there because there might be some really radical groups that really don't want to see him in office. And that's unfortunately the responsibility you have when you're going to go into high political office like that. You got to be really careful because there are people out there that may not like you in office. And it's just a dangerous gig all the way around. But right away, he's making demands on other countries and tariffs and, if you don't do this, I'm going to do that, and playing a tough man bully again. And some people say, well, that's maybe what America needs. We need a bully type of president to push his weight around. I have to disagree with that. Here we go, staunch. A staunch character, yeah, be staunch if you have to. But I don't believe that even things like building the wall so Mexicans can't get in. Okay, babe, love you. Okay. Be careful. Huh? What? Oh, you want to kid? All right. Yeah. I'm just gonna have those steaks for dinner that I got.
Okay.
The ribeye. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have tonight. I'm sure you'll be back before that. Okay. All right. So, where was I? Boy, my mind goes. Okay, politics, president, whatever. The guy makes a lot of promises, and I guarantee you that all those people that work so hard to get him back in office, I think they're going to be terribly disappointed. It's a gut feeling. I know what the guy's like. He's all for self-empowerment, and not to, also to mention the guy is on the older side, and I don't want to sound terrible, but maybe we'll get lucky and God will call him ahead of time, and who would he replace him with? I don't know. Well, it would have to be the vice president, That wouldn't be any better. I don't know what to say on that. I'm not in the United States, and hopefully I'll not be there. But I think that the leader of the country is the one that puts the template down for all Americans, and everything from their behavior, everything from the economy, the lifestyle of people. President has a lot to do with that. Benefits, taxes, not to increase taxes all the time, put people in the poorhouse, and not removing the middle class, which is exactly what Republicans want, and that's what they're all about. And I don't care if you don't agree with me or not. I have my own thoughts about this. Lots of others do too. You can't get rid of the middle class. That's who built America. They're the ones that picked up the fucking condoms when you didn't want to pick it up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They built America. And immigrants also built America. How do I feel on the illegal immigrant situation? I would have to agree with all y'all. I'd have to agree. The illegals should be sent out, but there has to be some, I don't know what they can do, consideration that they have families out in America now, and, they're leaving jobs perhaps that was supporting their family. Then you'll turn around and say, well, look, they're here illegally and they're probably working an illegal job because they work for lesser wages, and that's why people in America hire the Mexicans that come into the country. You'd be right. I will agree with you on that. I don't really agree with, I've heard many times these towns are being actually taken over by foreigners, and it just makes me think, what the hell happened to America? Now, if Trump could clean all this mess up, whether I think Republican or not, if he could clean this mess up, then bless his soul. I just don't think he can. America has been divided, and he helped divide America and all the bullshit. The Capitol, the raid on the Capitol. Who do you think was the catalyst on that? Come on, let's be real about this. That's what he did. And then he puts himself in this position where he can't be prosecuted for anything. Immunity, self-created immunity. In other words, he could go ahead and commit other crimes, tax frauds, all kinds of shit that he's done, felonies, 32 counts, felonies, and he gets to become a president. It's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? How do they allow that to happen? But that's government and politics. 32 counts. And a fucker gets to run and gets elected as president. Makes me say, what the fuck is wrong with you people, man? And what is wrong with that government? Apparently, there's a lot wrong with the government. To allow that to happen. But as I said, politics is not my forte. I don't like politics. I don't really like to get involved with, pardon me, I'm just multitasking. I don't like to get involved with certain politics. I've really never really been a very political person. I don't think ever, really. I just believe in what's good for me, what's good for mine, and my own self-preservation. I do believe in that. Other than that, it's status quo. Oh, okay, this one show I was listening to, several of them actually, the past few days. I can relate what they were talking about, and it had to do with something that we have talked about on here before. That what do you really do with your time when you are living in the Philippines as a retiree? And it's really a good topic matter because, and I don't care how many times it's been used and abused, really. But it is factual that not everything is, fun and excitement. Not everything is fun in games. A lot of people that move out here, it is survival. Survival of the fittest, survivors of the ones that have the financial back power to survive at the rising prices here. And we never had to really struggle. And of course, if I didn't buy the house, then I'd have a whole lot more money. But it was a decision that was made. I'm glad we did, because it does represent some security for both of us, really. And certainly while I'm alive, and if something happened and we really needed to sell the house, we could sell the house, make money. We'd go back to renting or find a lesser expensive place to buy or something. But, the bottom line is that it comes into what's good for her future. Because I'm already older. And if you got a loving relationship, a real relationship, like most of these goobers don't have, you're a lucky man. What are you going to do? You're going to sell everything you own, and you take the money, you're going to get buried with it, or cremated with it, in whatever direction you want to go. That wouldn't make any sense at all. If somebody's been really good enough to you, man, you're getting older. Let's face the fact. Someday, and maybe not, someday you might be old enough that you might need that special care. You just might. Nobody knows what's around the corner, man. As far as unexpected health conditions and accidents or whatever might happen, no matter what age you are. I mean, there's things that happened to me in my life that I didn't expect to happen. It just happened, and you can't tell the future. Maybe it's good that we don't, except if you're into Bitcoin, like some of these online Bitcoin self proclaimed millionaires. Yeah, that might be advantageous, but I think for most of us Joe Schmoes out here, a lot of them sliding by, and some are not sliding by, and it gets really bad, where they wind up in a horrible position where they met a Filipino and the Filipino took the guy for all his money. How many horror stories? That's exactly what it is. They're horror stories that has happened. You can see it on Paul's show all the time. Of course, Paul's going to present those stories, and he's going to be the savior that comes in to put a fund to help these poor people out. Well, do I feel sorry for these people? Yes and no. Man, you have to be smart enough to watch your money. You have to be smart enough to know a little bit more about that beautiful Filipina that you met. Oh, sure. She has a beautiful smile and bubbly and, oh man, youthful. That's the underlying word. Youthful. That's what attracted you, didn't it? Come on. You know that's a fact. It was youth. It's exactly what it was. You want to live that, you want to go back in that damn time machine I talk about all the time. Come on, let's face reality. You want to go in that time machine. That's why you want them as young as you can. I don't want anybody that young. I could not keep up with her in the fucking bedroom, a fucking 18-year-old. Hell with that. I'd have a fucking hot attack. Hot, H-O-T. Hot attack. And too much energy that, you know, you got to keep up with her energy level too. Now, fortunately for me, I do have a hell of a lot of energy. Although, if you're going to sit around all the time, it's going to seem like, oh, Grandpa Moses, whatever, just sitting there. You're not able to get up off your damn chair. Well, if you live a complete, too laid back lifestyle, then that's what it's going to wind up being. You're going to wind up sitting down a lot more and not doing exercise. So I had a kind of a lapse in time when between that kidney shit, stone thing, because I had it stented for 3, 4 months and I couldn't do shit. So I wasn't on my treadmill and I wasn't doing shit, to be honest with you. So now it's been makeup time. And I started getting into a little bit heavier today. And I'm going to work up on that. What shape am I in health wise? Actually, not bad at all. I'm going to, the next time I go to the lab, I'm going to fast and see what my lipid level is. As I said, the triglycerides is the one that you really want to concentrate on, unless your LDLs is just so freaking way off that, yeah, that would be a concern. And yes, if you could afford to get a CIMT, which is a coronary, well, it has to do with I mentioned it before on my shows a couple of times, carotid arteries, and they're going to tell the story right there. Carotid arteries. They're going to tell you a story, and it'll say how much of a risk of a heart attack or stroke. That will tell the story. If you really want to know the story, put your LDLs, your HDL levels to too high or too low, whatever. Unless they're just really outrageous, you don't generally have a concern. But the difference is, and I promise I'll stop after this with, that kind of information. Look, I utilize this for myself and nobody else has to, okay? But I am actually right on target on some of the things I actually do talk about on here. I'm right on target. There's a different kind of plaque in your arteries, and I'll get off the medical thing. Just allow me one more time to just bring this up. There's more of a liquidous type of plaque. That's the kind of one you don't want. And there's a hardened plaque, which is not great, okay, but you'd rather have that than the more, you know, aqueous, really, viscous type of plaque that develops in the arteries. That's the one you don't want. So you find a lab or somewhere that gives, I don't know what they charge for that. It's not that much. It's actually just a sonography. It's an ultrasound, basically, but it's geared toward measuring your artery. I had that done once, actually, with my heart valves. That was way back in Hawaii. I went to the heart clinic just to be able to kind of look and see, where I stood. And it's really amazing. You see their screen, it comes out in like a graph pattern. They could actually measure, I'm not kidding, to a minute level, measurements of how wide your artery walls are, and they could tell on there how much, plaque and something that's going on in there. It's just amazing because it's not like your standard ultrasound. It's an ultrasound, actually, really, but I think it's a little more complicated. You could really measure the exact diameter and circumference of your artery and see if it's really a proper size and everything in between. So yeah, if you were considering doing something like that, if you have any concern for your health at all, you're getting older, and even if you're not, like I said, these days they got children that have clogged arteries, if you can believe that. That's our society. That's our society because of all the fast foods and shit. That's why I really don't want to bring this guy in on this, but just let me do it one more time. Our Australian Aborigine friend, he's a guy that goes to the gym and everything else. That's good. I'll commend him for doing that because he should build up a little bit of muscle tone. He's not a big muscle man or anything like that, but it's still good that he does that. But the problem, and it's just using him as an example, and this goes for a lot of people, the problem with this guy's doing is, and I'll just come straight out with it. Okay, it's not that I'm innocent in one of these habits. I'm not. But when you chain smoke like he does, and that's what he does, he chain smokes and he drinks. He's been drinking for a long time. He's drunk most of the time he does his shows, and he likes to go out to bars and party and all that. And all these years, what is he, around 50 now or something? All these years are going to catch up with him. I don't care what he does in a gym. I really don't either way. But that's not going to solve his problems at all, not even remotely. I'll almost put a guarantee that if he went for testing, he would be awfully shocked and not be very happy that his years of I don't chain smoke, by the way. Of course, I don't drink at all. The only alcohol that touches me is a hand sanitizer. That's about it. Has taken damage on his body. I'm 100% sure of it. Not 50%, not 40%. It's not guesswork. If he went for specific tests, he'd probably be pretty upset with himself when he's proclaiming to be, the Grand Meister of health and talking about how junk food is bad for you and preservatives and all this crap. Well, that's like, there is a hypocrisy even with me. His is extreme hypocrisy because he smokes and drinks, but, and then he's saying things like, oh, you don't need vitamins or supplements. That's how dumb he is. Everybody's body is individually different. If you really want to build up your immune system, there's certain things you have to do. If you want to go downhill like him, which he will, I guarantee you, I say this with 100% certainty, 100% certainty, 100%. Well, he hits it hard. Look, I smoke, but I don't know what people think how much I actually smoke. I've already told I smoke a half a cigarette, not even I throw it away. It's very wasteful for the money. It's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. But I do other things for me that are good. I try to balance things out. That's what I do. So yes, there is some hypocrisy, the fact that I'm into vitamins and I still smoke. Yes, there is. I take the punches when it's due. But in his case, he's like downing vitamins because he doesn't have the money to buy it. The Bitcoin millionaire. Yeah, right. And yeah, even he hitting the bottle even harder too. So yeah, you're right, Laughing Larry. Yeah, he hits the bottle quite a bit. I guarantee you. I never made a stronger statement. I guarantee you. If he went into some examination, did some lab tests, he's going to be awfully unhappy with himself. That applies for people like Licky too. Absolutely. There's no question about it. Now, Ricky already is suffering high blood pressure. I would guarantee you, almost guarantee you that the Australian Aborigine guy, he's probably at least pre-diabetic. At least. At least. Alcohol is, according to what you're drinking, is made of a lot of sugar, especially like rum, for example. I'll give you one example. The sugar in rum is incredible. Just incredible. And then I imagine he probably eats snacks and crap, and although he claims that he's on a healthy diet, this ain't about him. The show is not about him. I'm just basically saying that, you know, people who proclaim that they know everything, and I don't proclaim that I know everything. If I don't know, I'll ask or research something. That's how I'll know. So I'll back up my statements when I have to, and I always have. I'll always back up my statements. And I could definitely tell you, their lifestyle is going to kill them. He maybe laughs at the fact that what did he say? I'm 30 years older than him? Whatever, I don't even know his age. He's got to be pushing 50 or something around there. I'll guarantee you, even with the age difference, I'm physiologically, healthier than he is. I don't think this guy could run to save his life. I could. He wouldn't last very long, but I could run. I could walk great distances without being out of breath. That's a good sign. If you heard my show today, you didn't hear me breathing hard at all. It's not that I walked an incredulous distance, but if you really have a lot of lung damage, you couldn't even do what I did today and not be like, not at all. You didn't hear shit. You didn't hear that. Now, if the guy in jail did that, and I do remember when him and his girlfriend, they were going to these waterfalls, and, it would take a bit of walking, going up some hills and everything up the mountainside, and where the goober guy said, no, you just go ahead and do it. I'll stay down. He goes, I can't walk up there. So his lungs are pretty fucked up. Don't forget, he was smoking since he was 8 years old, and that's a state. Was it 11 or 8? I think it was 8. 8 years old. Imagine you've been smoking since you're 8 years old. Although he's 20 years younger than me, still that's a great amount of time. I mean, it's a lot of time. His lungs didn't have a chance. Yeah. But when I take vitamins and stuff, there's a reason. I have shitload of vitamins. It does not mean I'm taking every one of these damn supplements every day. No. I'm smarter than that. There's certain things I will, as a base, take every day. Considering my age, and there's certain things that would help the arteries, stuff that's excellent for the heart, and things like that. Yeah, I do. I do take that. I take it also for skin elasticity, vitamin C, and other things too for skin elasticity. One thing I don't have is the collagen anymore. I don't have any collagen tablets, but I do care about myself at least enough to do something anyway. Something to help kind of balance out the bad. I know it's easier than said. Why don't you just remove the bad, dude? Well, obviously, guys, it's not as easy, and some people have that kind of character. They could put something down and never look back at it again. But for most folks that got into smoking or drinking, they find it very difficult. And that's just a fact. It's addictive stuff, no matter, However, I'm just saying it doesn't mean that you can't do something good for yourself, okay? How long am I going to live at my age? If you have to go statistics, you come up with all kinds of numbers. But today's people in my age bracket are basically maybe equivalent to 15 years younger for their age. And if you take care of yourself, it might even be a bigger gap. Now, wait now. You see, let me explain something on this. It's not the average person. That's not what I'm saying. If you're out eating junk food every day, McDonald's and Jolly Bees and all that, you're drinking real heavy duty sugar like Coca Cola and crap like that, then yeah, you're setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up. So when the Aborigine guy sits there and he's drinking this Coca Cola, which is loaded with sugar, and his drink is loaded with sugar, okay, that he's puffing down these cigarettes like there's no tomorrow. It probably won't be. I mean, he takes such enjoyment and he makes fun of it, and he makes you sound like, oh, enjoy it. Enjoy it. But if he thinks he's going to live to my age, I don't think so. So the last laugh is, I'm always going to have the last laugh in these situations because a lot of these goobers out there who are so intense on criticizing other people are the very ones that talking about lies. They're lying to make themselves look better, feel better on YouTube, to feel good about themselves because they're such fuck ups. I told you, most of these trolls on here, they come from a situation where they were running away from something. They were a failure in whatever country they came from. They came over here because they failed with women, they failed with everything. The law was against them. Like the show used to be called, Every Man Has a Story. Every man does have a story, indeed. Everybody has a story. I have a story. Everybody has a story. Our stories may vary from person to person, but the main denominator with a lot of these people, and I think the majority of them, they came here because they couldn't hack it in the country they came from. They couldn't hack it. Then they heard all these stories about the Philippines. Oh, yeah, I can relive my youth again. Why not? Let me relive my youth again. Let me go find the youngest Filipina I can, use her and abuse her for all she's worth, but then things take a turn. They wind up abusing the guy and take all this money. There is some karma at the end of the rainbow somewhere, where they think they're actually taking advantage of the Filipina, but they're taking advantage of him, and that's more likely than not. Everybody has a story, right? Every man has a story. And they do. Every one of us has a story. But I'm not afraid to hide my story. And just yesterday, I gave my story today. Had to be divided in two shows because my camera, I don't know what happened, but nevertheless. And I'm not afraid to tell the truth. Now, people will label you as a liar because they want you to be labeled as a liar. They don't want to believe that you even graduated college. So according to these people, I'm frail, which I'm certainly not. I'm 76 kilos, and I'm not 5'4". I'm about 5'7", maybe a tit's hair less than that. That's not a tall man, but I'm not a fidget either. And my body mass index is right near the balance point of where I should be. I'm a little bit over, a couple of points, but I'm kind of like where it wouldn't be a concern due to a body mass index situation, how much fat to muscle and whatever for your height, weight, and even age. A lot of guys that get to my age, and I know I'm sounding like I'm ancient when I say, oh, they get to my age. Well, I'm not a young kid anymore, man. I don't pretend to be. I know the clock's ticking. It's ticking for all of us. It's ticking for me. And some might think that, oh, yeah, don't worry, he's not going to be around anymore because he's a certain age. That's not necessarily true. I might be around for a hell of a long time, maybe longer than I want to be around. I don't know what the future is, and I really don't want to know. What's that? Jay pays girls just the same as Ricky. Oh, talking about Jay here. I already know that. But let's not make him popular and talk to him as his name because apparently he must have a lot of time on his hands too because he's been doing a lot of live shows. And he got his, hurt feelings. He got his feelings hurt. And that's what happens on here. Like we have somebody say, he got his feelings hurt. No, nobody's hurt my feelings on here. Not in the least. But I think the Aborigine boy got his feelings hurt. Look, I'll end it with this statement. We used to talk every now and again, not a lot, but on Facebook Messenger. And I know stories he's told me, okay, coming from his mouth that gave more than a hint to certain things, okay, about a certain individual that he was heavily involved with as a friend. And they went out together, they did everything together, got drunk together, fucked together. I know some stories. I know some stories. I'll save him on this one. I'll save him on this. But he's not innocent at all. And his overall attitude toward Filipinos really sucks. It just really sucks. I don't know why. Well, I know why he comes into this country to visit. Easy picking, even for a beast like him. You know how horrifying it is to a woman that needs to make a paycheck and she has to subject herself to somebody like him or looks like him or drinks like him and who has such a horrible piss poor attitude toward women in general. Yeah. Young girl was flipping the waffle. Yeah, so, Aborigine man can't afford to speak about me. You don't know my life out here. You never even, he's never even met me. He's never sat down and broke bread with me. He doesn't know anything I'm like. And to make these lame statements just to make himself feel better, and that goes for anybody really. I don't lie about my life. I got nothing to hide. But apparently these people do. I don't pretend to be a Superman with super strength. I'm not a big time martial artist. I'm not a wealthy person. I made some of the same mistakes other people made. I've had a couple of bankruptcies in the past, but the difference is I got on my feet. And the world does not owe me something. They don't. Except the guy in jail seems to think that the world owes him something. That's not the way it works. You're just going to remain stagnant if you think you're going to depend on every government agency to help you out with welfare and food stamps and all that shit. I've heard ridiculous things that were put out. Everything about my house and who was paying the rent and that Section 8 was paying. Well, Section 8 was paying the rent on my brother. 1/3. No, he paid only 1/3 of the rent. It's 30% of your income is what you pay for rent. That's what it is. 30%. I think that's the exact figure, actually, 30% on there. He's got to pay rent to me. Nothing's free. Now, it helped out me being able to get rent, but we had special permission. Because they would be right about saying that the owner can't live on the same property per se. It's according to what your living situation is, for one. For two, if it's already been discussed with HUD and that you've been basically kind of a caretaker to your family member, which I actually was. There's no doubt about it. I was. I attended every need that he had. From when he'd fall on the floor unconscious because he was drinking or his oxygen level went down, called out to me, and I was there to help him out. I mean, I was basically his caretaker. So all this nonsense about frauding the HUD and all this shit is total nonsense. Total nonsense. I didn't do anything illegal there. The house, my house, it wasn't his. He was not on the title. He didn't own the house. He didn't own part of the house. He was a renter like anybody else. Okay. But thank goodness I sold the goddamn house. And maybe it's something he didn't like. Because, he become how many years he's been there. That was his place. As far as having to lose everything that he grew and everything else, that had to be taken away from him. There was no choice. I put effort into this too, creating a garden and everything we had. We both did. That's one thing we did do both together, besides going on, small road trips and stuff like that on the island. But, people go through changes, and sometimes there's things you have to do. And you can't be somebody's nursemaid all the time. And they have agencies for that. Okay. And he had, even when I moved out. He didn't just have friends that looked in on him, but there were some state agencies that would come by. He had everything covered. He had everything covered. And I talked to him like every couple of days. But I'm not going to keep up with that story. It is what it is. It is what it is. It was what it was. I'm here. He's now gone. His health conditions are no longer a concern. Although they were a concern to me when he was alive, I always helped him out. I did what a good brother should do for his brother. That's what I did. And more. A lot more. A lot more. But of course, if you're a troll, you're going to say something different. You left your brother to die. I didn't leave anybody to die. I didn't tell him to take drugs all those years and have to be on oxygen and everything. He was mobile. Drives a car, goes shopping, everything. He wasn't in a wheelchair. My life had to go on too, bottom line, and it did. I could not sit there and let my life go by. And if it was needed, there would be a state type of assistance for him. I always said for him, you should live in an assisted facility. He didn't want to do that. That was his choice. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die right here. I don't want to feel like I'm in prison and have to obey their rules. I can't drink. I can't do anything. I said, well, there'll be other people around there too. You could socialize like crazy. He just didn't want to be in that kind of situation. I understand. I understand. Judge is going to flip the waffle. Anyway, that's what I have to say today. I did a couple of uploads in this one live. And not much more to say. Not getting into my legal my legal affairs, anything like that. But I think in reference to some shows I listen to, I like to hear somebody that makes a whole lot of sense, and it's like a shared history with the real reasons where people moved out here, and it was never just for the women. And that was always never the case on a totality. It was never for the women. Not all of it anyway. People had the need to leave United States and other countries and UK because this is just getting out of hand. It's getting worse. Nobody can afford anymore to live in these places. And this Brit guy, he was honest enough, him and another guy actually, that I listened to, both Brits, and they were talking about this. And they just hit the nail on the head. That's why I listened to them. I understand why they came out. And it's the story with a good percentage of people who are considered expats living out here. It just came to a time when your Social Security check in these countries was just not going to cut it. Let's say you had a lot of savings. Well, eventually in America, for example, your savings could run out because it's awfully expensive to be there. So you were lucky enough, you sold the house, so you're going to stay there anyway, so you're going to stay there. Just take the money from the house, stay there, and find something, cheap to rent. It's hard to find that even. I'm sure you could. Like rent a garage or something. And I could. I don't need a fancy surrounding. I mean, if it's just me or something, for example. Shit, I'll go somebody's garage. If it's clean, have a bed, whatever, a fan in there, whatever, access to a bathroom and shower or something. I mean, I could hack it. That's not a big deal. I don't need a big fancy house. I could rough it if I had to. And it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a giant ordeal for me. Of course, I don't want to rough it. I don't ever want to be in a situation like that. But if it occurred, it's something I'd adjust to and I'd be able to handle. Now, the only thing I will speak about on the other guy, the goober in jail, when you've been living there long enough in a cell, you will acclimate to the cell. The only difference is you can't go out to the bars and walk the streets, but he's got a shelter, access to water, has a shitter in there, you got to flush it though with water. His girlfriend gets to come and visit him. So it's, in a way, it's almost like business as usual. When you've been in there that long, you will acclimate to it. You may not like it, but you'll acclimate to it. We all can acclimate to that. If we're forced to, what are you going to do? If you're going to bitch and whine about it all the time, it's going to make your stay there even harder. But I understand. I understand the aggravation of the situation. I understand being irritable about a situation, but you never should have done what you did. That's all I can say on that. I'm not going to elaborate anymore on that. You know the story. But I could acclimate. It would not be the ideal situation for me, but some kind of a change happened in my life where that had to happen. I'm not going to like it, but I will adjust and acclimate to just about everything. And I could. I have the ability to do so. I could accept changes in my life because there's been a lot of changes in my life. Moving from various states, starting a new life in a whole new state, have to meet new people, everything else. You think about work. What am I going to do for work? 3 states, New York, Washington, Hawaii, and a small stint in Alaska. So I've gotten around. Not world travel, but I've gotten around. Anyway, that's about the end of my story here. It's perseverance. It's how strong you are in character. And if you really want to make it, you want to stand on your own 2 feet, you can do it. You just have to want to do it. But my best advice on all of this, again, to summarize, don't come in here with pre-existing health conditions. That's the worst thing you could do. Look at the chick on Philippines Antics. A classic case of that. Don't come here if you don't have money saved in the bank in case you had a health event and you can't afford to pay it. That's number 2. Number 3, don't come here with an extraordinarily low pension because it's going to be outweighed. Even if you have COLA increases every year, they don't amount to anything. Your COLA increases are not going to be balanced out with the economy, inflation. You got to plan well, is what I'm trying to say. I guess we have, and I'm still here. I am healthy. We're happy. No, I don't walk with a cane after all, but it sounds good to say that on their shows. I don't need to hang on to her to stand up. I'm not that old. And if that ever happens, I probably wouldn't go out at all if I had to depend on that. No, I'm completely mobile. Thank you very much. Thanks for caring. I could walk on my own, I assure you. I could open the door on my own without a cane. Come on, girls. I don't walk sideways like a crab. I just find that really humorous. Oh, man. Just to make themselves feel better. Doesn't that just amaze all you? It just amazes me that they could spend the time talking total fucking nonsense like that. But I think it's just a clear reflection of their life. That's what I personally think. Would you like to kind of be that fly on the wall that peers into their life? I would love to be that fly on the wall and report back. Given the opportunity, of course. Pardon me a second. Okay, we're going to conclude this show, and hope you enjoyed my uploads today. I'm really thinking that being a lot more active and kind of swaying away from the social media shit really is in order, and it's been in order for a long time. I'm going to spare you all by saying that, oh, yeah, I'm going to get off YouTube. How about if I just say something very honest with you? How's that? When I'm not on, you'll know it. How's that for honesty? How about that for fairness? Do I ever get enjoyment out of doing this? Of course I do, but it comes to a point where it gets ridiculous. And allow yourself to get more active instead of sitting around doing a goddamn show. And my God, these people out there who are supposed to have these active lives and they're financially well off, and they say they are, and they're doing so well with their health and everything else. What's the real situation with them? I mean, the fly on the wall thing. What is the real situation with these guys? You'd probably be surprised to find out that it's not what they boast about. That it's not even close. Like I said, the Aborigine man, who lately has been a real piss hole, because he got his feelings hurt. Did you know? Don't scratch your eye. Okay, here we go again. You got to see the medicines I got around. We got a vet that comes right over here, man. Put out a fortune yesterday on some of her. Hey. If you didn't scratch your eye, that wouldn't happen. What'd I say? Yeah. I take responsibility even to my animals. These people that probably don't get to probably piss on an animal. Or chit, and want to throw hot water on them or throw rocks at them. Oh, wasn't there a character on here that said that? Or was my memory kind of going bad? Oh, I'm pretty sure he did. Mr. Aborigine, go for a health checkup, dude. Put your money where your mouth is. You're not, you're vulnerable. And I couldn't see you getting into a fight with anybody. Nevertheless, a 70-year-old man, that might embarrass you. You'd be surprised. You might be surprised. There's a lot of people around my age that you'd be awfully surprised what they can do. Don't judge somebody by numbers, because it's not a full view of what a person's all about, what they are capable of doing at their age. I'm no Superman, never said I was. But I do know how to handle myself. That I could tell you the complete truth. I know how to handle myself. And look how healthy she is too here. She's 3 years old. Clean. You see the cleaner dog than that in the Philippines? I don't think so. So, come here, come see Dad. Very obedient. Very obedient. Such a personality. Very social. Very social. They listen to everything. Happy dog and a happy family. If you could achieve that when you move to a different country, then you did well. Don't worry about the income too much unless you're really living on something that's really, really low. You could find ways to make ends meet without starving yourself and depriving yourself of proper housing. You just, if you're in that position, just don't try to live like a rich man in a third world country. Because third world or not, a lot of things are a lot more expensive here than in America. Go ahead, buy some medicine. You're paying per pill, blister caplets. And they charge you more. They're smart. Don't misjudge Filipino people in finance and their math. There's nothing wrong with their math out here. You're going to be paying through the nose. They don't come in bottles out here. Most shit don't come, prescriptions don't come in bottles like in the United States. You're going to buy individual in little blister packs. That's what you're buying. And it costs you more that way. And they know that. Even for vitamins, you could go to S&R. They have a fair selection. But go look what they're charging for vitamins. Most people, you go to some small pharmacy, some store or something, most of them really. Oh, do you have any B12? How many you need? Don't you sell it in a bottle? No, individually. I said, what do you charge individually for this? That's how they make their money. Sachets of shampoo. Of course, you're better off buying a full bottle of shampoo, right? Get your money's worth. A lot of Filipinos can't. So they buy these sachets. And there's not much in there. How many sachets would this take to buy a full, you need to equal a full bottle of shampoo? It's going to cost you a lot more money to buy those small sachets. I see this all the time. I'm a consumer out here. Even down to toilet paper. I laugh because, I use it. Some people don't, but I use it in combination. But I was even like this in Hawaii. I even stepped up to a customer and I said, she went to go buy this big family pack of toilet paper, right? And this was in Walmart in Hawaii. And she's thinking, oh, yeah, it's a family pack. This is going to cover us in a family for quite a while. Look at all these rolls. Did I tell her? I said, you see this roll of Scott tissue here? One roll, and I saved her money and time. One roll was 1,000 sheets. But the family pack she bought, and all these rolls of toilet paper, right? All those rolls added up to 1,000 sheets. You simply could have bought one roll of Scott tissue, which I used to do. I get numerous ones. One roll was 1,000 freaking sheets. But people don't think mathematically like that. I'm terrible in math, but I have enough brains to know to read a label and say, how many sheets are on this roll? I see it even out here. You're not going to get any singular rolls for 1,000 sheets here in the Philippines. Sorry. Unless you go to a specialty store or something, but I don't think you're going to find that. Everything's going to be like this whole package of, where they have 4 rolls in there, amounts to only 400 sheets for 4 rolls of toilet paper. Okay, I'm saving you money already. If you're in America or somewhere, I'm saving you a lot more money. And I got to go. Thanks for listening. And there is something I need to do. Guess what? Isometrics. I'm going to be breaking up my day doing this stuff. So for those that are wishing death on me at an early age, well, early age, how you look at that statement. Don't hold your breath. I know a lot of these trolls out there with shape therein. Not just trolls. If I've seen them on camera and I've seen their diet and their lifestyle, I could safely predict that they are a time bomb ready to go off. Anything could happen to us suddenly, even me, despite taking supplements and all that and trying to eat some decent food. I never said that it could never happen. I'd be pretty arrogant to think that. But I would say, and maybe say this in a better way, that I, at my age, has a better chance than those that are much younger than me that come here to the Philippines, or so many people or trolls or anybody on YouTube. And I can only say that because I've seen perhaps what they eat, how much they drink, if they smoke, are they a chain smoker? What are they doing for their lives other than sitting, waiting for somebody to come on so they could put a show on and try to belittle the person, which shows that their life is not that active because they're too busy sitting on their computer. I do exercise. I'm doing stuff. What are they doing? Except waiting for that bell to ring, ding-a-ling when somebody's going to come on the show and they can make a copy of their channel and critique everything they say. No, they're not living a good life. And even if they have money, they're sure wasting a lot of their precious breath and their oxygen and time instead of being with their partner, wife, whatever. And, just putting YouTube to the side completely, if not completely, especially as you get older. There's a beginning to something and there's an end to something. There will be an end to my YouTube career. You just don't know when it's coming. It's just going to hit you. You're not going to see me doing shows. You're not going to see me doing uploads. Although I've been saying this for a really long time, it's becoming a reality because I've been told by two different people, I think enough is enough. You had your time in. You had your chance, your 15 minutes of fame on here, whatever. Maybe it's time to retire from this. And for good. This way you got more time to be more active. How many times I've held up my exercise in the morning because I started a show. And I'm a very timely person when I do something. At a certain time, I'm going to do this exercise or something or eat or whatever I have to do. I'm timed down to even taking a shit. I know exactly when I'm going to take a shit. And although not everything in my life is revolved around a clock, I'm a person that kind of gets into a routine. And once you break the routine, that's like throwing a wrench in the machinery and you got to start all over again. But the main thing is to start. If you failed, you start again. Whether it's, exercise, whatever it might be. And yes, you do have to consider all this as you get older because you're not going to get any older. Either Mother Nature says it's your time or you can kind of extend that time on the planet. If you just do certain little things, they could be very little, you'd be surprised, which could actually extend your life. If that's what you're looking for. Some people don't give a shit. They say, when I die, I die. I'm going to eat everything I want to eat. I'm going to chain smoke. I'm going to chain drink or whatever. And then they go to the gym. It's, it makes me laugh like with the Aborigine. It really makes me laugh because, a comparative story that I've used before, and you got this terribly obese person. You see this all the time. It's real stories here, I've seen it so many times I can't count. You go in a restaurant and you got a very obese person coming in there and they're ordering like everything on the menu. Everything that's totally unhealthy. They'll even add some ice cream to that or cake or... And what do you have to drink, ma'am? Oh, I'll have a Diet Coke. That's my point. And the Aborigine guy, this is what he does. Well, I go work out, but you're sitting there doing a show, not obviously doing anything else, but what are you doing? And he makes a joke out of it, but that's okay because he's a joke. The last, the laugh is on him, and he's talking about my age. I'm going to die well before him because of my age. That's not necessarily true. It's not. If you're chain smoking, well, if you're older than me, it means you smoked more than me. Meaning in time, he's saying. But let's go back to how much he smokes. If you're chain smoking, that means you're barely breathing in any oxygen at all. Then on top of that, you're polluting your body, not only with that, in as much as he does of that, which is incredible. Then drinking with it too. I know drinking goes with smoking and so forth. For those who drink, they smoke or whatever. But what he does is, and how many years this guy has been drinking? I imagine it's a pretty high number of years. And if he thinks, his little twit of a mind, if he thinks that his glycemic level, his glucose level is normal, if he thinks that his liver is healthy, he's only fooling himself. He's only fooling himself. I'll almost guarantee you I'll live longer than that Aborigine. I'll almost guarantee it because of what he's doing in double. And then he laughs about supplements like the average jerk-off don't understand. You're not getting all the nutrition from the products you're eating anymore. Number one, yes, a lot of us, including myself, will eat products with preservatives in it, especially if you want to go for the frozen stuff. But another way to look at it is like this, is that he's saying that, oh, supplementation, you're a fool to take that, save your money. No, you're not. Because our foods, unfortunately, that have GMOs, our produce and fruits, don't have the capacity anymore to produce the special antioxidants that maybe 20, 30 years ago, when the earth was cleaner a little bit, the soil was not inundated with poisons, and people were not, well, in the old times, people were not cultivating the soil very well, and they created a dust land, nomads, they had to move, but we're in a whole different time now. The environment is not clean anymore. A lot of the produce, broccoli, cauliflower, everything, does not have the potency that it used to have. It does not. And you have to supplement. And you may have your own needs for something. You may be lacking a certain vitamin. And like I said, if you smoke, take away 25 milligrams of vitamin C for every cigarette you have. So if this goober is not supplementing his diet with vitamin C, and he's a chain smoker, his immune system is just going to go to wasteful. His metabolism, his metabolics of his body is just going to just fall apart. His skin elasticity, he's going to look older than his time. He already does. That's all I'm saying. Before you make a statement, research it. Before you make a lame statement. Just because I'm older than somebody does not guarantee that they're going to outlive me because they're younger than me. It just doesn't work that way in the real world. We live in a real world last time I checked. The real world, you could die at 15 or 10 or 8. You could die as a baby, an infant. You could die in your teens, 30s, 40s. And a lot of people do. Because they're throwing so much shit in their mouth. If not their attitude that fucking kills them, it's what they eat. Like they say, you are what you fucking eat. And that's a fact, son. That's a fact. And with that being said, that's my show.